Okay, in this video, we're now going to put the two PPFs together. Okay, so we're going to put the PPFs for these two people together into one, and then we're going to analyze this from there. Okay, so let me go ahead and I guess I should just go ahead and draw them again. Okay, so we have, and then we can see how they go together. So we have here Pat. Okay, so the market, home, 40, 100, I believe. And then we have Alex. So I'm drawing kind of fast because these, besides just to look at them at the beginning, 40 and 80. Okay, so they're going to put these two people together. All right, so let's go ahead and construct this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and construct this for the two of them together. So this, again, home and market. I made it a little bigger because this is going to be the two people together. So we start off by getting the endpoints. So if Pat does all market and Alex does all market, then that's going to be 140. So I'm going to put that here because that's both of them doing only market. So they can, one can do 100 and the other can do 40, so total 140. And if Pat does all home and Alex does all home, then they can do 120 home. Okay, so that's where we're at so far. Now, a lot of people, when they get this far, then they do this, and that's wrong. Okay, so don't, oh, sorry, I should have left it for just a second. Okay, they do this, and that's wrong because that assumes there's one constant opportunity cost between these two people, and there's not. They each have their own opportunity cost, and we need to take that into account. So straight line, no, doesn't make sense. Okay, so now what we're going to do? What we're going to do is we're going to put them together. So we have two choices. We could put them together where we put Pat first, and then we draw Alex. But that will give us as little as possible. Okay, so we don't want to do that. So instead, we're going to put Alex first. Let me give Alex a color. I'll make Alex red, and let me make Pat blue. Okay, I don't remember if these are the colors I made in the notes. If I didn't, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going to put Alex first. And the reason we put Alex first is because if we're starting from this point of 140, then we're producing all market. And you have to ask yourself, well, if somebody's going to start doing home goods, who should it be? Right now we're doing all market. If somebody's going to start doing home goods, it should be Alex. And so we just draw Alex's curve. We just draw Alex's curve right on top of here. So this part going down is going to be 40. So it's going to go from 140 down to 100, right? Because his or her, Alex's, let me just say, height is 40. So this part is going to be 40, go from 140 down to 100. And then for the home goods, Alex can produce 80. So then for home goods, this point is going to be over 80. Okay, so really what we just did was, I can't do it on here for you to see, but you can think of it just you're picking up Alex's PPF and placing it there. Okay, that's the way you can think of it. And then now, well, once we get to this point, now Alex is doing 100% home goods. So this point would be Alex is doing 100% home goods, producing 80, and Pat is doing 100% market goods, producing 100. And then from there, we'll say, well, now it's time for Pat to start doing home goods. So if we wanted to get more home goods, we're here. We want a bit more home goods, we've got to have Pat do it. And we'll notice this height is 100, which is equal to the height of Pat's PPF, if doing only market. And the distance from this 80 to the 120 is the 40 home goods that Pat is capable of producing. Okay, so now we've put them together. And we put them together, so now this one is Pat, and this one, okay. So this gives us, so that's how you put them together. If you do it backwards, you'll find your PPF doesn't go in, instead it goes, sorry, doesn't go out, instead it goes in, and then you'll know that you have them backwards. And by doing this, we're using their comparative advantage. We're doing the production in the order of which they have advantage. We'll get the most possible. Okay, I'm going to erase these top ones now. And so, again, I'm not writing down the assumptions because I'm trying to do these videos faster, and you can read the assumptions in the notes. But we had an assumption that they have the same preferences. Okay, and so we're going to use, okay, that they have the same preferences. And what that means, so we have this something with the same preferences. That means Alex and Pat like the same stuff. They want to choose the same stuff. And that just gives one, the reason is that one set of indifference curves. Okay? If we allow them to have two different preferences, then we would have to figure out how they make a decision, which makes the model way more complicated, right? So by giving them the same preferences, we then know that the family, the married couple, will make one decision together. Now, this may not be realistic, and we can come back and look at this idea later, but for now, that's what we're assuming. And so two things matter for what they're going to choose. One thing that matters is what they're good at matters, okay? So what they're good at is going to affect their choices. So for example, if they're both really good at market, they're likely to choose lots of market. If they're both, it's going to affect their choices. The second thing, though, the preference that they have will also affect their choices. So I'm going to draw three possibilities onto here, okay? So one possibility is they could have a very strong, this could be their indifference curves. I'm only drawing one, but you can imagine there being a whole set that look like this. So they could be like this person, and this one, in this case, and they choose A. In this case, they have strong market preference. So they really like the market goods. And so they're going to choose way over here, getting mostly market. They're getting this much market goods, right? Maybe this is like 120, 125. I don't know. It doesn't matter the exact number. And not much home goods. So they're both working a lot, both making money, and they're not spending much time in their house. Then they could be like intermediate. This is a different, remember, these are different people. These are not the same people. So this person has intermediate preferences. They like both things quite a bit. And so this person would be choosing both. In fact, they're doing this choice here, this spot here is called complete specialization. So at this spot, Alex is doing only home goods and Pat is doing only market goods, right? They're getting 80 home goods from Alex and they're getting 100 market goods from Pat. And then finally, they could have really strong home preferences. So this case, they're getting really strong. This is strong home preference. So they really want to stay home. They really prefer home-cooked meals and homegrown food, two things they can buy in a restaurant or etc. They prefer time relaxing or reading a book than they do having a lot of money to buy the fanciest, latest gadgets and cars, etc. Okay, so these are different preferences. So two things influence what you end up choosing. One thing influences is the shape of the PPFs. Okay, and the second thing influences is this is the preferences. The preferences definitely will influence what they choose. Okay, so let's stop here and we'll come back with another video looking at the game.